Hi everyone, this is Jim. Welcome to this Blitz chess postmortem. This is a postmortem of my Blitz chess game number 216. Before we get started here, I want to say I'm going to be away from my computer for about a week, so there won't be any new videos uploaded for about that long. But you can enjoy the videos that have already been uploaded here. So, and hope to start producing new ones as soon as I get back. So see you guys then. In this game, my opponent kicked off with e4, and I played e6, the French defense. And cancel that. I played e6, the French defense. And then my opponent went knight f3, which is a bit of an unusual move here. I could play c5 and get into a Sicilian, an e6 Sicilian, but anyway, I wanted to play the French, so I continue with this. And then knight c3 is the main move here, and this is known as the two knights variation of the French. But what my opponent did was he took the pawn, and after this exchange, and d4, and knight f6 is a normal move here. This is now the exchange variation of the French. Now the normal way of getting there, if we back up, the normal way of getting to that position would be e4, e6, d4, d5, takes, knight f3, knight f6. You see we're in exactly the same position as in the game. So that's the exchange variation, and he just got to it by an unusual move order. So let's make sure we're back on the game. Yeah, so e4, e6, knight f3, d5 I play, then he does the exchange, and we get to this position in the game, and I play knight f6, and we're exactly in the exchange variation of the French. But he plays this unusual move h3 at this point, so we're actually out of the opening book after this, h3. It's one of those moves, doesn't do a whole lot, and you'll see the it doesn't hurt white either. You'll see the position is still about even, but probably not the best move in the position. I develop a piece, and then he plays bishop e3, defending or over defending his d-pawn, castle, and then a3. So he's now put up pawns on both rook 3 squares. Keeps my pieces away from his king, I guess, or from his either side of the board. Later on, you'll see he decides to castle queenside. But this is a setup for an attack, basically. He's trying to play a few prophylactic moves to keep my pieces away so that he can attack without fear. And he does attack without fear. But you'll see, actually, this is not a particularly good way to play. If you make these pawn moves that don't do anything, eventually your opponent is going to have an advantage in development, and if you're against a strong player, you'll eventually get into trouble. I don't play the most accurate move here. Rook e8, I guess, is the best way to continue. So the game stays in the range of about even, but it's just really not the way to play. So I go with c6 to shore up these pawns, my center pawn mainly, the d pawn. And then he plays g4, so starting with his idea of the pawn storm on the king side. So I retreat my bishop. He plays bishop d3, and then I play rook e8, which is a good move in this position. Okay, the engine improved to that one. And he went queen d2. I was wondering if he could just push ahead with the pawns at some point here, but it looks like, well, the engine prefers bishop takes g6. Yeah, I was sort of expecting that too. Take, and try and open up a file onto my king. Looks like I should have enough resources to defend, but it can get tricky, and so that's probably a more dangerous way to play. I'm not sure this move accomplishes a whole lot, and it allows the move knight e4, which I play right away with a tempo hitting the queen. So he takes, and now it says my most accurate way of taking back is with the bishop. Well, about the same, bishop or pawn. I like having a pawn advanced into my enemy's camp here. It takes away squares from his pieces, and can sometimes disrupt his development. So that's why I took with the pawn. He went knight to g1. Let's say he could try knight to e5, but I could just take it off of e5 and win a pawn. Okay, so knight to g1 is a reasonable move. Knight d7. Oh, cancel that. I didn't play knight d7. What did I play? Oh, I played knight a6. Yeah, I had sort of this peculiar idea. of maneuvering my knight over here to this hole. I was thinking, he might stay in the center or go kingside. So I was starting this long-winded knight maneuver, and he just castles queenside, so that makes this move a bit pointless. But I decide to, well, if he's going to attack me and we're castled on opposite sides of the board, I need to get something going against his king position too. So knight ce2, probably a good move. Cancel that. Knight ce2. That's strange. I guess he's hiding from this pawn. Yeah, I would play knight ge2 myself, and it looks like d5 is an idea here. Just pushing ahead. He's got strong central pressure. If he takes this bishop is loose. So I would probably play c5 here. Is that bad? Oh, knight takes b5. That is bad. So here, and d takes c6, b takes c3. Okay, so this is kind of an equalizing line, and queen a5. So the game would continue, but that's probably best for white, is to try and attack through the center at that point with the move d5. So anyway, he was running away from the threatened b5 move with knight c to e2, and now I have some kind of advantage. I press on with b4. I wasn't sure about this at first, because he can just play a4 to bypass the pawn, but it creates some good squares for me. But I have to find the move b3. Yeah, so b3 is the good continuation. I was planning to put my bishop here, and then I realized my pawn is in the way. So that's the continuation of that thought, is say, well, why not just give that pawn up and get a good square for your pieces. So he played c4 here, and apparently the strongest move here is knight to b4. Looking in on these weak light squares. I played bishop to b4. The queen has nowhere to go, so that forces his knight back. But I guess this is more or less stable. But you see, black has an advantage already. So white's somewhat peculiar play has gotten him into trouble here already. I should also notice that, or make a note that white was moving crazy fast. At the end of the game, I had 2 minutes left and he had 8 minutes left, and we both started with 8 minutes. Now there is a 4-second increment, but there's really no need for him to move that fast. He's beaten me before, so I know he's a better player than this. Anyway, so I come up with queen a5 to try and intensify pressure on this pin. He plays knight ge2 to defend, and then rook a to d8, just putting some pressure on the center. So the engine liked some of these moves. Yeah, that's interesting. So I guess I'm playing okay in this section, and then he pushes on with h4. Again, d5 is an idea here, I guess. h4, it just breaks up some of my pawns on the queen side. Let's back up. d5, c takes d5, c takes d5. Yeah, I'm not quite sure. Maybe that c-pawn was a menace in some lines and he's just getting rid of it. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what that accomplishes. So he continued his attack on the king side, which I think is kind of logical. You've got to get your counterplay going before you get clobbered. And so I came up with the move f6. I need to find an escape for the bishop so it doesn't get trapped over here. Sorry, he played h5, and I moved the bishop away. And now you can see the evaluation is rising in my favor, falling in his from his point of view, but rising in favor of black. So he somehow has made his position worse by pushing these pawns here. So it says the best way for me to take advantage of it is queen e1. Oh no, it's his move. It says his best defense is queen e1. He played rook d to g1, just continuing with the attack. And now I should play knight c5, apparently. So let's take a look at this. Knight c5. Ah, yes. Knight c5 takes advantage of the pin. So there's a pin on this pawn, and it's just directly attacking the a pawn. So I'm going to crash through on the a file here, and he can't even take back with his knight because it's pinned, and his queen still has no great squares to run to. So that's a cool move, knight c5. I played bishop takes c4, just getting ready to break through. I'm going to take both of these knights, and then take on the a file, and so he comes back with rook e1 to defend the knight, and then I go ahead and take the knight. But here, so this was a mistake. Apparently he can defend now. This is pretty interesting defense. Well, first of all, let's back up and see what I should have played here. Knight to c5 once again. Okay, we have that idea. h6, stopping the pawn. Yeah, I guess, yeah, just knight c5 is the main idea. Because of the pin, I can grab this pawn and open up the a file, which is what I want to do. Okay, so this is bad because it allows queen e2, which he didn't play. But if he had played that, what it does is it puts the queen on this diagonal where there's a check. And so it allows him to launch an attack here. So if I play knight c7, it says, I mean, how about if I just go on with my plan? I plan to take here. Then he throws in queen d4 check. And so I run. And then h6. So here, bishop takes b2 check, getting rid of the bishop. And then g6. Or rook to e7. Let's try g6. Queen takes c6. Yeah, somehow he's getting counterplay against my king. He's going to start trying to make threats like mating me on g7 there. It says I should play king to g8, queen to b6. Yeah, it's just not so easy. Queen b6 is an interesting idea, just trying to chase his queen away. But my advantage is really dissipated. So it's in this position here where queen takes e2 kind of keeps white in the game. After rook takes e2, then I'm able to continue with my plan. Just take here. He took back with the queen. Doesn't matter too much. And then I grabbed the a pawn. And now with this a file open, he's just in big trouble. So he tried king d2 running because there was the immediate threat of a check and picking up the rook. And then I play c5. Well, it looks like c5 is a good move. It's a logical kind of move. You have to notice, first of all, it's defended by your knight, so the queen can't take it. And the pawn can't take it because the pawn is pinned. So you get to bust open some lines towards white's king with a move like c5. So he played rook d1. And I took the pawn. And this just wins a piece here because I'm forking these two guys. And they can't defend. So rook takes check. King back, rook takes. He took with the king here. Guess that was the only move. And then now the best move, the best way to continue is queen a1 check. I was a little bit afraid to play that because I wasn't sure what was going to go on in my back rank if the queen got too far away from the rest of my pieces. So I played this check. He went rook d2. And I don't really have anything better than exchanging off. And then I brought my queen to b4. And this forces an exchange of queens and leads to a win. So that's the way I was able to win it. I still hadn't figured that out. I should probably have figured this out in advance. As a fallback, I was planning to bring my queen back, but then I noticed in this position that if I just retreat my queen to defend here, he has the move queen to c5 check. White can play that move if I'm not careful, attacking my king and my knight simultaneously, and then he's back in the game. Although I'm still a few pawns up, so I'm still probably winning, but it would have been a closer game. So, but fortunately, I had this move queen b4, and now with the queens off, this is an easily winning endgame. I have to give up that pawn. I didn't see a way to defend it, but basically the pawns are going to win this game for me. And when he attacks my knight, the simplest win is to actually give up the knight for a pawn, because I have this outside passed pawn over here, and I also even have one on this side of the board. So I make a threat to pass my to queen my e-pawn. He has to come over and defend it, which successfully defends against the e-pawn, but now I can move one of the other pawns, either this one or this one. The a5 one is simplest. So he can't stop them both, and so he resigned at this point. So that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed this game. Leave any comments you have in the section below, and I will see you again when I get back. Bye now.